Hi everyone. So we're back here with the 2003 Jaguar S-Type R, and today we're looking at the adaptive damping ride control. So previously we had an issue whereby we were unable to communicate to the module. Well, good news, I've been able to source a second-hand module unit after having tracking down the error to that particular module. And I've not programmed it or paired it to the car yet, but already we're seeing a different error code, which means at least we can communicate with the module. So what I propose to do is look to program this module to this car and then see if we can resolve the C.A.T.S failure issue that we've had previously. The vehicle configuration main menu, and first of all, I'm just going to check the configure existing module option just to see if you can see it. No, it can't see it, so I'm going to go up here and I'm going to go back to the configure new modules and tick box that. So I'm going to poll it. Then I'm going to get a list of everything I can control here, and I'm going to choose the adaptive damping system control. So I'm going to choose yes to program this. We've got the parking brake on and we applied parking. Switch ignition to on. I'm going to do that. Okay. I'm going to try for the automatic configuration procedure rather than a manual. And we're just going to see, we're getting further than previously, which is good news. So previously we were getting an error saying that we were unable to control, sorry, it was unable to communicate to the module. So now it looks like we're going to clear the diagnostic with trouble codes containing the adaptive damping control. Switch ignition to off. Okay, please wait. Switch ignition to on. Okay. So that says it's now successfully did. Switch ignition to off. Okay. Marvellous. So let's go back and have a look to see what's going on here. So we still have that logged there. Let's clear that. I'm going to clear it. Switch ignition to on. There we go. And the error has cleared. So, all good. Well, we're now back from having done a test run of the car following the fitting of the Jaguar C.A.T.S module, or the adaptive damping control module. You will recall that we coded a replacement module to the car and cleared the errors. So we've now taken a test drive in the car, probably around 10-15 miles, and now I'm just going to see what diagnostic trouble codes we've got on the car following the test drive. So I'm already in Jaguar IDS. I'm just about to go do a read. So now we're going to hit the button to read the codes, complete vehicle, on. Okay, so if I open up the adaptive damping control, I'm pleased to report that there are no errors. Let me just turn the ignition off. There we go, save the battery. Just scanning through the list. So climate control, we know we've got an issue there. And I've actually got a replacement part on order to help troubleshoot that. The engine control module P1111, all the tests are completed okay. No other DTCs visible apart from the climate control and also the headlight leveling. So what I'll attempt to do there is to recalibrate the front axle sensor. So I'm just going to do that now. So I'm going to do, point to note, someone asked about steering column calibration, and that is an option supported by IDS, which is good news. Meanwhile, I'm going to do the front sensor and rear axle sensor calibration. So click OK. Ignition switched off. The vehicle is broadly on a flat surface, which is good. Parking brake is on. Yep. Switch the ignition to on. Okay. I'm now going to go for the low beam on the stalk. Okay. Switch ignition off. Switch ignition on. Right, axle sensor movement. So since we've got to bounce the car. So I'm now going to change my position. So the bonnet is now open. I'm going to push down and see if I can get a bounce. I'm now going to open the luggage compartment. And I'm going to try and do that on here. That's done. Okay, I'll just see if there are any options in here to see. I think we should definitely add that. And let's see if we can find the rear one as well. Oh, there it is, rear axle deflection. Okay. So, let's see if I can get anything on here. Ignition is on. Here we go. Right, I shall now attempt to bounce again. Right, that's on the bounce, so we could stop. So just to recap where we are, we've been able to identify that the front axle sensor, which is located behind this offside front wheel on the right hand side, we've been able to diagnose that as potentially being frozen, having a constant reading of 47.8%, making it implausible. We know this because we was able to test this on the IDS system by using two signals, the front axle sensor and also the rear axle sensor as well, comparing the values, and we saw that the rear axle sensor was responding to movement of the car, whereas the front one seemed to be frozen at a fixed value of 47.8, which I understand can happen. We're likely to have to replace that sensor, and I do have a good used second-hand unit to do that. It's going to be a little bit more involving than perhaps what the standard manual procedure is for replacing the front axle sensor, because the one that's supplied, the bracket, which I will show you, is quite rusty and it's going to be in probably a worse condition than the one that's on this car, because remember this is a lower mileage. It hasn't done much mileage in the UK, so it doesn't have the corrosion that's usually commensurate with running an S-Type for many years through UK winters with the salt and grit and so on and so forth. So we'll get cracking. We'll look to jack up the car under the seal. Not actually on the seal, but just as a particular point just near the seal, which we'll be able to jack up, which is load bearing. We'll be able to then take off the wheel nuts, take off the wheel, and then we should be able to inspect the front axle sensor, disconnect it, remove the pivot nut on the sensor arm, and then look to remove the bracket, which has got two securing nuts.
remove that, and then look to swap over and put the new, the replacement front axle sensor and arm onto the bracket, and then return it to the car, fit it up, connect the pivot nut, and then we should be able to connect the Jaguar IDS system, and then look to recalibrate. Yeah, we'll look to recalibrate the front axle sensor. A bit involved, but we should be able to do that okay, and then hopefully that will resolve the signal implausibility error that we saw on Jaguar IDS, which is affecting the headlamp calibration. So I just thought I'd show you the state of what happens when someone's foolishly jacked up the car in the wrong place. So this is on the driver's side, or the offside front, and the official jacking point is denoted here with an arrow, and you should have a special puck that can fit over the seam here, and that's solid metal behind, so you can then jack up the car. Unfortunately, it looks like someone has previously tried to jack it up on the plastic seal cover, and you can see some of the distortion here of the seam. This seam should be behind this seal cover. It's not. You can see it's been deformed, and it's deformed the seal. Fortunately, it's not too obvious, so it's merely just a cosmetic thing. If we pop round to the other side, you can see what it should look like. Okay, so this is the near side front, or the passenger side on the UK. So again, here is the indicator for the jacking point, and again, just tucked behind here, you probably can't see, just tucked behind here is the seal. Puck goes over there, and then you're able to jack up. But notice how this has not been vandalized by somebody previously trying to jack it up on a seal. This fits perfectly, whereas unfortunately on the driver's side, or the off side, it does look like someone's tried to jack it up inappropriately. Okay, so I've taken the wheel off, and immediately I can see what the problem is with the front axle sensor and why it's frozen. The reason it's frozen is because the linkage between the front axle sensor and the suspension arm just down there, it's gone. It's just simply not there. I can see the remains of the ball joint end there and just here, but there is nothing linking the two. So it means that regardless of what's going on with the suspension, this reading will never change. So I think what I need to do is rescue the arm, the linkage arm, from the donor item that I have, and just clean up these ball joints and see if I can actually attach these to so that we actually have a functioning front axle sensor that can actually take some readings from the suspension arm. So I've just applied a whole dollop of multi-purpose grease, automotive multi-purpose grease, to both of the openings where the round ball joint will slot in. So that should provide sufficient lubrication to allow for movement with the suspension arm, and also the control arm for the front axle sensor. So now all remains to do is to attempt to attach both ends to the relevant ball joints on the car. Okay. I might just drive that on gently with a tap rather than the pliers. There we go. I think that's on fine. So just those bits here I'm going to try and push together in case that was missed earlier. Oh, where's that feel? Let's see. Just here. Yep, that's in. That's in nicely. We've got plenty of wiggle room on the arm. Both hands are in fine. That's all good. Right, excellent. Well, I'm pleased with that. That little arm there, that's now on securely, no issues. And so now the front axle sensor should be able to track the movement of the suspension arm. All that remains now is to refit the wheel. And once we've got the wheel refitted, we'll get out the Jaguar IDS diagnostic system and we'll look to recalibrate the front axle sensor now that it's connected to the suspension arm, so we should get some readings and then we should be good. So you can see here we've got 2 error codes. One say that there's no calibration or adjustment, and the other say the front level axle sensor is not plausible. So what we'll do is we'll crack into the setup and configuration settings. And we'll look to do front axle sensor calibration. So, okay, we're in the load beams. Just give it a little while to work through the setup sequence. I've already opened up the bonnet and also the boot trunk just to get ready for the calibration process, which involves bouncing the 2 separate ends of the car, the rear and the front. We'll do the front first, and then we'll look to do the rear as well. And then hopefully, now we've got the front axle sensor fixed, we should get some sensible readings and we should be able to pass calibration. Off. Done. Switch ignition on. Push down on the front of the vehicle. So here we go. Done that. Luggage compartment. Push down on the rear. That's now done. Should say the car battery is being trickle charged at the moment with the C.A.T.S charger, just so we don't drain out on the battery too much. Switch the ignition off. So, switch the ignition on. So, mechanically adjust the headlights at aim. Check your process to do this. Fine. Test complete. Switch the ignition on. Put the lighting to the off position. Done. Okay. And that should now mean that the module is configured. So what I'll now do is go across to errors. Look at these 2 errors. So we'll just clear them now. On. There we go. Off. Okay. Ignition to on. And now we still have 1 error code. Let's have a look. Unbelievable. still saying it's not plausible, which I find very, very hard to believe. It could be out of range, so I think what we need to do is look at the signals again. So I think we can do that in this here. Okay, so I think we can look at that, add that one in, and we should just go and see what we can do with that. Okay, so let's have a go, shall we? So ignition on, it's already on. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is try and look to record the setting. So it's showing 40.4. If I bounce up and down on it, we should see a difference. So let's do that. Do that. Yeah, we've got movement. So I'd say that's absolutely fine. So let's go back. Can't see why it's complaining about that. It may need to go for a bit of a drive. Try and clear that again. Okay, that's all done. Let's go back here. Clear. Switch ignition to on. Okay. Switch ignition to off. Switch ignition to on. And finally, that is now cleared, which is good news. I think now what I will do is turn on the headlamps and just make sure we don't get the headlight leveling issue. They're all on, which is good. So I shall just quickly do a quick scan. Ignition is on as we quick scan just to see if we get the reoccurring error with the headlight leveling. Hopefully we won't. Good. One final quick scan. Ignition to on. Excellent. So no errors there. Just the climate control one remaining. So that was the next final one to fix. All good. I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to shut everything down. I think this job's a good one. Well, thanks a lot for watching. Oh, and by the way, if anyone's interested in reaching out with any photos of the cars or any supporting evidence when I have a problem, appreciate you can't do that in the comments for YouTube. So what I suggest is perhaps dropping me an email at my email address, which is hello@twooldclassics.tv. That's hello@twooldclassics.tv. Don't always man it. I do go away for work. I'm quite busy like everyone else, but I will do my best. If you do email me with any supporting material for an issue, I will do my best to try and help. I would encourage people to use the comments section so that other people can benefit from it, but I do appreciate that sometimes you may want to share a photo or a screenshot or some other supporting information with the issue you're having. Anyway, thanks a lot. Until the next one concerning the climate control, bye for now.